Hello, I'm Jenilyn Roberts with Present Path, and today I want to focus on cultivating your intuition. This is something we all have access to, and I'm going to give you 6 clear steps to how you can begin the process of further developing your own natural intuition. I also offer intuition coaching sessions, and I recommend that you meet with me to build your own skill set in a more profound way. So, our first step, every intuition book will mention, is meditation. Every single one. And that's because when you meditate, you simply are becoming more aware of the subtle of your mind and your body, your sensations. So just take a moment with me for a couple quick breaths, because a lot of people also have this idea that meditation is this big M, of like, how do I do that? And it's so simple because it's not about thoughtlessness. It's about presence and feeling the natural sensations in you. So take a moment and we're going to take 3 breaths together, tuning in. It helps to close your eyes, but if you're driving or something and listening to this while doing an activity, you don't have to. You can just become very aware of that activity. So take a breath and feel your lower abdomen rise and fall with your breath. Do that again. And let all the muscles on your face relax. And now just for the rest of this video, allow yourself to just stay aware in part of your breathing while listening to me. Just awareness of maybe the sensations of the breath coming in and out through your nose, maybe the movement of your belly, maybe your weight, wherever you're seated or standing, just feeling yourself being pulled lightly by gravity. And maybe even telling your body to just relax and bring presence to this moment and this experience. You'll probably remember the messages of this video better if you do this at the beginning of any course you take. So, allowing yourself that presence is super key. So giving yourself a short meditation every day, as little as 3 minutes, but I find that once you sit for 3, make sure there's room for 10 or 20, because it's really nice that once you get started, you might say, you know what, I feel so good, and I feel that I'm making some progress here. I'm going to stay a little longer. And so we're very busy in our lives. Give yourself the space you need. To start with spaciousness, but only commit to that 3 to 5 minutes, because I feel also a lot of times we will trick ourselves out of meditating by saying, oh, I'm distracted, I have other things going on. That's because the ego is white knuckling the wheel of your life. We don't need to judge the ego for that, because that just gives us more ego. So letting yourself loosen the ego's grip a little bit by saying, oh, it's only a 3-minute meditation, blink, blink, innocence, right? And let it evolve into longer as you stay comfortable there. Okay, so you make a giant commitment of an hour a day, it's less likely you're going to get an hour a week. But you make a 3-minute commitment, you might build to an hour a week more quickly than you expect. So the first step is meditation, and the second step is listening. Now, meditation is a listening practice. It's simply listening to the mind and being aware of how the thoughts are creating emotions, being aware of how your body feels, the sounds around you, just awareness. So the kind of listening that you build in meditation is very subtle listening. It's not listening for the big sounds, it's listening for the small ones. And even the practice of yoga in the Indian tradition, which I studied in Mandarich in India, is about listening to the subtle instead of what they call the gross, the obvious. So bringing your awareness to the little voice in your head that's quiet. Now, a lot of times with intuition, you'll get a thought and it passes by so quickly. It's very fleeting. And it's a quiet thought because the intuition voice is not telling you something with panic. The intuition voice is very silently being like, you should bring your tennis shoes today. You're like, what? I don't know why I thought that. seems silly and irrelevant. But later on that day, if you were to think, I'm going to listen to that even though I don't know why, you might find that your friend invites you for a walk in a park and you happen to have the right shoes with you. It's small. It's not all grand moments, you know? Let it be small and listening to that quiet voice in you. Now, some people say, well, how do I know the difference between fear and intuition? Fear will send a wave of panic through you. Your body will tighten, you'll clench, you'll lose your breath. Intuition might be firm, but it won't make you panic all over. You'll actually feel incredibly calm. You'll just be like, okay, that seems like a good idea. And it doesn't make your whole body tighten up like fear does. So again, that listening through meditation to your body's sensational experience brings in that ability to access your best information. So the next step is sensory awareness. And all this listening you do will build in you a sensory awareness. A great place to practice this type of listening is when you meet someone new. So you come upon someone you never met before, and you check in with yourself before you meet them. Feel your sensory body. Do a quick scan meditationally of your body. Listen to where you're at. And then when you meet them, as you're chatting, notice and scan through your body how they make you feel. And it doesn't have to come with strong judgments, and it's good to be aware of your own biases. At the same time, trusting the anomalous sensations coming up that don't always make sense, of like trust or distrust. What does that feel like in your body? And you could be wrong about it, so give them a chance, but being aware of it makes it so you will be more empowered in that relationship. Sexual attraction. What does it feel like? That's one that's almost overwhelming. And when we're more attuned to the subtle vibrations of these things, the more able we are to be aware of the flavor of them. You might just be anxious around this person, but anxiety and sexual attraction can feel similar. So knowing the difference between those two by being aware of your sensory experience with them. If you can bring that awareness into any situation you go into, say you move into a new house, or walk into a new house. You walk into a new house and you smell the house and you sense how the energy shifted from outside to inside. And you observe visually or physically with your tangible hands the textures around you, maybe touching the wall lightly, taking in the sensations of the experience that you're in. All these little details, noticing them will make it so that when you go into a psychic experience or an intuitive experience, you're more aware of the details of what you're experiencing. So sensory awareness is being aware of the experience your senses are taking in around you in a conscious effort. It's kind of like a meditation, but it's kind of casual because you're just walking and sensing that which is around you with more awareness of how you're taking it in. So once you've done these basic root tasks, now you can begin to step into other fields of interest. For me, tarot reading, oracle card reading brought forward a whole new level of my psychic gifts. We all have psychic gifts. It's just a matter of focusing on them. Sure, some people might, have more of a natural inkling towards it. But when I was a kid, my best friend had a far more powerful psychic gift than I did. And I was a little jealous, and also I really appreciated that it scared her. And it made me realize that it's something that is hard when it overwhelms you. And it's nice when you get to control as you walk towards it. So if you already practice tarot, I highly recommend you start playing with it on a more psychic level. For instance, choose one card. Just one. And then look at that card and allow yourself to just meditate on it and take in all the symbols and see which symbol is really striking you. And what does that symbol mean to you in your experience? And what's that over there that I never noticed before, right? So just letting yourself fully take it in and allow that card to speak to you and then journal about it. Journal about what that card said to you in this moment, whether it makes sense or not. So tapping into the tarot is great. You can take classes in that with me or tutoring sessions with me. And then the other thing is, along with, Tarot actually was the basis of the playing card deck. So the 56 card deck that you play cards with is based in the Tarot. They took out the major arcana and they took out the female jack. So you're already playing when you're playing with Tarot, but other fun games you can play with yourself to test your intuition is to, before you go to a place, try to envision it. Try to imagine the place you're about to go. See if you can see it. If you can't, you can't judge yourself too harshly for this. It should be a fun game. Acknowledge when you got it right. High five yourself. Acknowledge when you got it wrong. High five yourself for playing the game and trying. Another way is, say you're driving on the freeway safely. Try to guess which car is most likely to exit the freeway next. Make it a fun game in the car with everyone. Just try to guess which car will get off next. And don't necessarily pick the one that's like right in the slow lane, because that's not always the way it's going to be. Another fun game you can play is when you lose something. Instead of panicking and frantically trying to find it, slow your roll, meditate, sit and breathe, and imagine that item, if it's small, in your hands, and imagine turning it over, feel the weight of it, looking at it. And if it's larger, then standing in front of it, imagine yourself walking around it. Sense all the details of it, and then let it tell you where it is, and see if you're right. This did work for me once with a pair of shoes. I found my pair of shoes in a brown bag in a closet, and I don't know how I knew they were there, and I don't know how they even got there. So it's a fun game to play, and sometimes it can benefit you by finding the item. So playing with guessing games is a really fun way to develop your intuition and make it stronger. And keeping a journal of that is super helpful, even when you got it wrong. It doesn't matter. Wrong. I mean, you guessed wrong on a completely anomalous situation. So, but noticing how you felt when you got it wrong. What was the feeling in your body? How you felt when you got it right. What was the feeling that went through you? How did you feel differently? And just that way, when you're feeling intuition, you can notice, oh yeah, this was a good feeling. This was a strong, positive feeling. This was a familiar feeling with when I'm correct on these guesses. Another factor of journaling is that you can choose to do free writes. Let yourself just go. Write in the journal first thing in the morning, wake up, maybe let your dreams spill out of you, maybe let whatever's come to your mind just go, and don't control it, and see what comes out. That's one fun aspect of journaling, and another one is keeping a record of all the times that you played games trying to build your psychic intuitive abilities, what you learned from it. I'm going to finish us today with a journaling exercise. I'm going to offer this, and you can continue this after the video is complete. So let's sit for a moment and think of a time when you had intuition. When you know that your voice spoke to you and that it was right. So begin by just writing down a note to yourself of what that was. What was the moment? You know this memory well. You probably told it to your friends. In that moment, how did you feel? And you can just write this down and answer this when the video is complete. In this moment, how did you feel? What did your response feel like to the voice? What was the voice like? What was your surroundings like? And how did you feel in those surroundings before you had the intuitive moment? What kind of blessing did that moment give you? What kind of support did that intuition bring you? And so writing about previous intuitive moments will help you to be more aware of the details of them that you can access in the future. And finally, please write in the comments on this video your own intuitive experiences that really blew your mind. I would love to hear them. They give me goosebumps all the time. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Thank you for listening. Please call me for some intuitive coaching or a tarot reading to get more insights into your life. Please subscribe, like, ding the bell, Join me on Instagram and Facebook as well. And thank you very much for listening. I'm truly honored and grateful to have a voice that is listened to. And I hope you'll start listening to your intuitive voice more than anything.